Zoe. Honestly, she's got the short end of the stick, what with my never to be underestimated excitement about the new series of Sherlock. So soon. Yeah, but regardless, I love Zoe. This is probably not a surprise to anyone.
You can't take the sky from me.
But no matter, because she's brilliant and wonderful, and I love her for many reasons.
The legs. Oh, yeah, I definitely have to say it was her legs.
Probably not as many reasons as Wash has, though. Trope of the week. Broken Bird. Someone, usually female, who's had a very traumatic time in their past and so is making up for that by being as cynical and stoic and badass and snarky as possible. Yeah, see, Zoe fits. But even before she had her quite significant traumatic events in her life, she was still pretty badass and snarky and what have you, so what are you gonna do? The reason I love her best is because she's really, really badass, and also because she's not Joss Whedon's typical skinny girl with superpowers type. There's nothing wrong with a skinny girl with superpowers type. I'm very fond of them myself, you know, I like a bit of waif-fu now and again, but Zoe is tall, and while she's not fat, she has appreciable muscle tone, and, you know, you are convinced, seeing her, that she could kick you up one side of the street and down the other again. And not with any fancy waif-fu either, she would just punch you in the face. Zoe is, I would argue, like all the female characters of Firefly, a strong female character. She has a personality. She has flaws. She has faults. She exists as something other than eye candy or the wish fulfillment fantasy of the male audience. Yes, I'm looking at you, Transformers. Zoe has backstory. Zoe has motivations. Zoe has her own way of dealing with things, which mostly involves lots and lots of stoicism coupled with the odd suicidal rage. Zoe has every reason to be as broken as Mal, at least. She was at Serenity Valley, and while she doesn't have his other tragic past elements, massive spoiler for the movie, she loses her husband. He died right in front of her eyes after piloting them through a rough approximation of hell. She has one moment, and it's heartbreaking, of pure panic, sorrow, grief. And then she pushes all of that aside, until they're no longer in mortal danger. Which speaks to a kind of inner strength that I can't help but admire. She is in many ways the strong, silent cowboy archetype, albeit one in Gina Torres' body. She's taciturn, snarky.
You fought with Captain Rose in the war.
Fought with a lot of people in the war.
And your husband.
Fight with him sometimes, too.
And as stubborn as a mule. She's a good deal less cavalier than Mal, but frankly that can only be a good thing. My favourite Zoe episode is probably War Stories, because we get to see what happens when Mal isn't there. They've stuck together through unimaginably bad times. They're as close as two people can be. She takes orders from him without question, but when the fecal matter hits the rotary air impeller, she doesn't spend any time on crying or wailing or whining or histrionics. No. She makes a plan, she executes the plan, she saves her husband, and she saves her captain. And she rocks at it. Zoe Washburne, everyone. Proof, if ever proof was needed, that still waters run deep. And to finish off, we've got her top 3 moments according to me. So, number 3.
You and I have to get it on.
I understand. We have no choice. Take me, sir. Take me hard.
We'll be in our bunk.
And number 2.
What does that make us?
Big damn heroes, sir.
Ain't we just?
And in at number 1.
I think this is not enough. Not enough for 2. But sufficient perhaps for 1. You now have...
Tim. I'm sorry. You were going to ask me to choose, right? Do you want to finish?